This was really weird to me. And I thought it was funny. Tom Hanks has a producer credit on this movie.
Yeah, he does. And so does his wife.
Do you know where they both just got citizenship to?
What?
They
For
both
real?
just became citizens of Greece.
Hello and welcome to the Nerdiest podcast, where nerds talk about nerdy things. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Mr. Jackson Glass. As always, I'm here with my ride or die, Mr. Nick Barrett. And today we are doing a dive into 3 movies that no one really, I don't want to say really cares about, but it was kind of a niche audience, and we thought it'd be really funny to talk about it. We also haven't talked about like a chick flicky movie, maybe ever. And so we're excited to talk about the My Big Fat Greek Wedding franchise. It's a franchise because there's 3, and we're even going to talk about the failed sitcom attempt after the first movie. But
that you didn't know about.
Before we get into that, I'm going to ask Mr. Nick Barrett, how was your week, good sir?
I just realized I accidentally left the EQ on GarageBand, so
That's
I turned
okay.
it off.
Okay.
So, well, thankfully I noticed that now.
Cool.
Anyway, how have I been? Well, on a scale of ride or die, I've been pretty close to die. It's been a week.
I don't know how many more. It is what it is. I have.
I don't know
left
how
in
many
me,
more
man.
rides I can take.
How many more rides before I die? It's ride or die, and you know,
yeah,
maybe
not
it's
both.
die next time. Who's to say?
Anyway, this has been a pretty long week. Like it's been one of those weeks where it feels like a week.
Yeah.
And it was just rough. It was a little better because there was a Nintendo Direct, which we're going to talk about a little bit here in a minute. There was also a new episode of Ahsoka, which I've been watching, which we are going to do an episode on. And like all I'm going to say is the first 4 episodes, my attitude was, wow, I owe Dave Filoni an apology. Like, man, you've really superseded my expectations and really turned things around. And then we got to episode 5. And I said, you know, maybe I apologized too quickly. Like, maybe I should have not apologized until I saw everything. So for those who've seen episode 5, don't come at me. Okay. Everyone knows I'm a staunch Clone Wars defender, staunch Clone Wars lover, like enthusiast, if you will, fanatic, if you may. Some would call me a super Star Wars fan. So this that episode just, and then the responses on Twitter. Okay, I wasn't gonna go off, but maybe I can just watch the audience retention.
TBH,
okay,
just go off,
guys. Mild, brief spoilers for Ahsoka episode 5. Just skip ahead a minute and a half. So there was stuff with Anakin Skywalker, right? And they were like,
what? I knew that.
Yeah, I know. Not a huge spoiler because Disney put it on the freaking poster and then posted it the night of.
I haven't
Thanks
started
for giving
it yet.
us time to watch the episode.
Guys, I haven't started it yet. Please.
Yeah, exactly.
Anywho.
So it's a lot of stuff with Anakin and a lot of the things that goes down. Now, I had pretty much the entire episode spoiled in the 24 hours from when it released to when I watched it Wednesday night, which is not a big window. That's actually pretty normal for most people. So thanks, Internet, for just openly spoiling everything. Now you might say, shouldn't you just mute all of the words on Twitter or not go on the Internet? Not go on the Internet is not an acceptable answer. Because I shouldn't have to not enjoy Twitter because you guys can't simply mark your things as spoilers with the little thing on the picture. Okay? That's all it takes. You just got to go here, press one extra button, and it blurs the image. It's not that hard. Anyway, I've seen a lot of really bad takes on Twitter this week because of what happened in the episode. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, guys, you know what we need from Star Wars next? We need a live action Clone Wars series. You know what we need? We need, guys, hear me out on this one. Could you imagine, and I'm about to channel the energy of an actual tweet that I read. An actual tweet, okay? Oh my gosh, guys. Anakin Skywalker, Ahsoka, and Captain Rex were all in this episode of Ahsoka. You know, it'd be really cool? A show with those 3 characters. It's almost like what already exists! It's called the Clone Wars! I am so sick and tired of you live action purists who are like, the animated shows don't count because they're animated kids show. Shut up. Literally shut up, okay? I'm sick and tired of this. Just because the show is animated, not everything needs to be like... Anyway.
Right. It's a real issue.
You guys are all stupid and dumb, and I think you should leave the Star Wars community now before you make yourself look even more dumb and stupid.
Okay, no need to gatekeep.
It's not gatekeeping. It's called don't be stupid. Like, just don't post stupid things on the internet.
Do you feel like we've gotten to a point in society where we're too comfortable with people saying stupid crap?
Yes. I think we need to bring back bullying, but in a healthy way.
Yeah, in a healthy way.
You shouldn't be allowed to say whatever you want. Absolutely.
Right.
Like, free speech exists.
Right.
It's like Qui-Gon said in episode 1, just because you have the ability to talk does not make you intelligent. Like,
that's really
you shouldn't
based.
say everything that you say. Like, I don't know.
Wow.
Anyway.
Sounds like you had a good week.
I did. Thanks for asking. That episode made me very mad, and it also turned me off because as a Clone Wars fan, I don't like this. And I know I just was screaming about it, but on a more calm level.
On a more less theatrical level.
The root of the issue and what actually makes me annoyed is this idea that in order to legitimize or make something valid, it has to be in live action, otherwise it doesn't count. Because there's a lot of people who are like, well, Ahsoka is just Rebels Season 5. And it's like, okay, so then just make the show animated.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why does this show need to be in live action? And I think the audience reception, like the from the negative side or the more skeptical people like me, would have been completely resolved if you made it animated, brought back all the original people,
right,
and did it that way. Nobody would have had an issue with that. And just build it as the Ahsoka show, but it's animated. And it's like, well, not everyone's into animation. Okay. I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
I'm more into animation than most people. But that doesn't mean you have to take the animated things and then turn them into live action. Like, it doesn't.
I also, just to bring up the point of, do you think Ahsoka's main fan base is animation fans?
Yes, because they're fans of
they're all
Ahsoka,
fans
the character,
of the Clone Wars. Yeah.
Who originated in an animated series.
Right.
So
and
it's what?
I understand because they want to build the hype of, it's the live action Ahsoka show, but they're just kind of damaging their own brand because they don't realize that we don't want the live action shows.
That's the thing is
and I haven't seen it enough to be like, oh, this is what I think. We're going to do an episode later on. And I'll probably have a pretty unique opinion just because I'm very disconnected from the Ahsoka stuff, but we still want to do an episode, so that'll be interesting. But I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it. I just don't like the furthering of the idea that animation equals fake. That's because animation is
a point. We will also come back to
later.
Anyway, that aside, the good thing I did this week that wasn't getting angry at the internet.
Yes.
Was I went out last weekend and I have my routine. I get up and go to the gym Saturday morning, usually before we record. Did not today because somebody's going out with his girlfriend during our normal recording time. So what a simp.
You know what's up.
So last weekend I went to the gym and I came back and it was only 9:30 because I got up early. And I looked at my car and I was like, you know what? I need to finally
this is a good story.
Clean the inside of my car. So let me go get the vacuum. So I get the vacuum, bring it outside, and then I was like, oh, I need like the spray to clean the inside, like to also wipe it down. So I go get the bucket, which also has all the other car cleaning stuff in it. And I was like taking it all out of the bucket, and I was like, you know, it's only 9:30.
Right.
Sure. I'll clean the inside of my car and the outside of my car. So I like filled up the bucket and hand washed my car. And the whole time I'm hand washing my car, I look over at my bike that's covered in dust and cobwebs, and I was like, yeah, I should fix up my bike. It's about time. So I pull out my bike, I spray it off, keep washing my car, spray the bike off again, keep washing my car, spray the bike off again, dry the car off, clean the inside, dry the bike off, throw it in my trunk, and then I go up to, we have a gas station at the front of our neighborhood. I go up there, and the air pump is broken, so I can't use that one. I was like, okay. So I go to the gas station up the street, and it's working. So I swipe my card, pay the $2 for 5 minutes, and I can't get it to work. And I lost both of the little screwy covers for the air pumps on my bike. So that's cool. So then I decided, you know what? Let me just go to Dick's. Let me go to Dick's Sporting Goods. I wanted to clarify.
Thank you for clarifying.
So I get to Dick's Sporting Goods, and I walk in, and I ask the guy, I was like, hey, how quickly could I have my bike tires filled up? Because I didn't know if it was like an appointment type thing. Reaches under the counter and pulls up a hand air pump and says, about as fast as you can pump up the tires. And I was like, okay, cool. So I go to my car, get the bike out, bring it in, pump the tires up, whole 9 yards. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to start riding my bike to the gym. So I need a water thing, like to hold my water bottle, and something to hold my phone, and like the garage door opener and stuff that I take to the gym. So I ordered all that on Amazon, got down Monday afternoon, and put everything on. And also on Monday, I spent most of the day at work building a vanity. So like my hands were dirty, which this might sound super out of touch with like the actual working class who builds stuff. But Monday, like after doing all that, I just went home and did like the stuff on the bike, and I went inside and I saw that my hands were dirty, and I was like, this is it. This is the American dream. This is it. So I described like that sequence of events as the American dad experience, and all I was missing was a wife, a kid, and a Honda Odyssey, and it would have been complete.
Listen, I can see the headline now. Gamer discovers hard work. Big fan.
Anime fan discovers hard work. It's called living. It did feel super out of touch, but it was like, man, look at me. Like, I felt accomplished.
Good. You felt good.
At the end, I was like, my car is clean. My bike is fixed. I did it all by myself without having to ask anybody for help. Look at me go.
Right.
That's pretty epic.
You're an adult. And do you ever have those, like, just those moments where you're like, well, time to get my life together. And then, like, the next 3 hours are you just, like, doing everything that you've been putting off for, like, weeks or months?
That's what I'm going to do this weekend while I'm editing this episode, because it takes forever to export. So I literally have a list on my phone of, like, wash my sheets, wash my shower curtain, clean the bathroom, like all this stuff that I'm like,
obscure stuff. Like, it's
what am I gonna do?
It's never anything normal. It's always like scrub the shower curtain or like activate credit card. Like, it's never anything super.
Schedule doctor's appointment.
Right. Exactly.
Oh wait, you can't do that on the weekend. They're closed. Never mind.
I kid you not. It took me, just because I'm a procrastinator, 2 months to schedule a haircut appointment last time, just because I was like, I'll do it, and then 2 months later my hair was still very long, and I was like, well, I guess I should actually do it now.
My mom told me to make a doctor's appointment at this doctor, like she referred me one, and was like, but you're 21, so you need to make your own doctor's appointment. I'm like, yeah, that's
you're
fair.
Right.
She handed me that 3 months ago, and I still haven't done it.
Oh my god.
Cause I'm like, well, I don't want to be that guy who calls them at like 4:30 when I get off work, because they're about to get off work, and I can't call them on the weekend, and I can't just make the appointment online, and I don't want to call them while I'm at work. So it's like, eventually I'll just bite the bullet and do it.
Right.
Because obviously scheduling the first appointment is the hardest.
Oh, of course.
Because after that, like once you're there, they just start scheduling you out 6 months
And they
every
know
time
you.
you're there.
Or
It
they'll
would be so
like,
nice if
"Are
I could
you
walk in and just do
free-
everything.
Are you free April 16th, 2027? And I'm like, put it on
I don't
there.
know, sure.
I don't have anything else going on.
Here's the thing. I don't like talking on the phone. And that's, I don't know. Maybe that's just like a Gen Z thing. Because I know a lot of
Yeah.
people who don't like talking on the phone.
I don't like
I
talking
would
on the
rather walk and talk to you in person than talk on the phone. Now,
phone. Unless it's
the
a scheduled
hierarchy-
call. Like if
the
we-
hierarchy is like text top tier. I'd rather like not verbally speak to you at all. But in a world of calling you on the phone or just talking to you in person, I'm going to take talking to you in person. Because
absolutely.
for some godforsaken reason, in 2023, the year of our Lord, I make a phone call and it sounds like absolute garbage, absolute dog water. But then I press the FaceTime button and using the same data and the same microphone on the same phone, it is crystal clear.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
And for why?
It's just FaceTime to phone.
I really love that the sole purpose of a phone is to talk on the phone, and that is like the most inefficient feature on
It's the dumbest,
every
worst
phone.
feature.
Wow.
Wow.
I don't have a whole lot from this week.
Thanks for just taking it, because I would have kept going for hours.
I know. And so not a whole lot this week, just a lot of work. Lots of school. Classes are good. Not a whole lot. Watching movies. I rewatched
Whoa,
The
really?
Menu this week, which is I actually liked a lot better the second time once I knew I was more getting into. I watched it a lot earlier this year, but I really liked it better the second time. Other than that, I've had some really solid poops, but other than that, like
We're not genre geeks. What are you talking about?
No, here's the
Get
thing.
that out of here.
There is a culture. There's a culture.
What?
And hear me out.
What do you want?
Now, you can disagree with me if you want. I have people in my life that I know will care if I tell them about my poop. You know? Right? Right? Because you don't just tell anyone. That's tacky. You don't just tell anyone. But I also
it's
have
the podcast where that culture resides.
apparently not. I'm sorry.
No.
Here I was thinking this was a safe space. That's my bad.
No, we've been doing this for 100 episodes, but we're not there yet.
At
That's like
what point?
episode 200.
How many episodes before I can start talking about poop? Like,
1,000.
I mean, I've just eaten a lot of corn this last week, and so it's like I've had some.
So there was a Nintendo Direct.
I can only describe it as Rice Krispie treat. That is the
No.
texture that I'm.
So there was a
I'm
Nintendo
working with
Direct.
here.
Nintendo announced
So
things and
let's
stuff.
go into some news. The Nintendo Direct.
Wait, do you want to do the movie watching competition before
Yeah,
the
we should.
Direct?
We haven't been keeping
How
up
many
with the
movies are
movie
you at?
watching competition.
Just hit it. Just hit me with it. Real quick and simple.
You first. I don't want to go first
Always
again.
me first.
How many movies
I
have
went
you
first
seen
last
this year?
time.
You didn't.
Yes, I did. Hold
All right,
on,
go
I gotta
first
find
again.
My
Like, what do
duplicate
you-
watches.
So
Okay,
this year-
still only
this
3
year-
duplicate watches.
This year, we're racing to 100 movies, if you don't know already. And we're really close to the end. So how many movies are you
I'm at 87.
at? Really?
Literally, the only movies I watched was My Big Fat Greek Wedding 1 through 3. That was it.
I
keep telling
also
myself
at 87.
I'm gonna watch
I'm
The Little
also
Mermaid
at
because it's
87.
on Disney Plus. Wait, you're also at 87?
I'm also at 87.
Weird, bro.
Bruh.
Only 13 more
This
to
is
go.
crazy. I don't know what I want my 100th movie to be.
I'm losing interest at this point, and I'm just gonna watch something, and it's just gonna
Right.
happen.
I'm just going to
And I'm just gonna be like, well,
well,
it is what it is.
The Little Mermaid can be my 100th movie.
I keep
Oh.
telling myself I'm gonna watch it because it's on Disney Plus. And I still haven't done it because I'd much rather play Tears of the Kingdom
That's based.
because I'm getting back into that, like doing shrines and stuff. Because I bought a guide, like a physical.
Dude, physical
Book.
game guides hit different.
Because here's the thing, I'm like, if I'm gonna air quote cheat and use a guide, I'm gonna work for it.
Right.
Like
You
I don't
gotta
want to just
flip through-
Google on IGN.
flip through the
How
textbook.
do I solve
Like,
this shrine? Like
right.
no, I'm gonna look for it. I gotta find it, like chart out on the map.
Yep.
Mark stuff. Gotta work for it.
I used to go when I was really little. I would go to with my parents to small group, and they would do that, but I would just go and play with the other kids, and we would go to these people's house, and they had a guide to Super Mario Galaxy 2. And it was the big book that I didn't have. And so anytime we were there, I spent my whole time going through that book and was committing the green star locations to memory so that I could go home and go and collect all the stars.
I respect that.
Yep, that's what's up. So
speaking
Nintendo
of
Direct this
Nintendo,
week.
There was a Nintendo Direct on Thursday. I'm going to breeze through this. It was a really bad. Okay. Not bad. It just wasn't
I didn't watch
great
it.
because... And I recognized this about halfway through. It's very much we're wrapping up Switch, getting ready to move on to the next thing, which is supposedly the Switch 2, which has had a bunch of stuff leaked, and people have actually played it, and developers have actually seen it and are making games for it, and it's supposed to be going into production in November, I think. So this definitely felt like, hey, we got a couple more games for you, but we're very clearly holding all the good stuff for the next thing next year. So that's cool.
What was announced? Because I actually don't know, because I was busy when it was live.
We're going to go through everything here, or at least the stuff I think is worthwhile. There was Splatoon 3 DLC, which you don't have. There's a new Mario vs. Donkey Kong game.
Mario versus Donkey Kong. Okay, I can get behind that.
Everybody's mad that it's $50, and it's just like it's just a remake of an old game. Why are they charging $50? If you don't like it, don't buy it. It's that simple.
I also we're just at a point, and I hate to say it, and I don't want to be that guy. That's just kind of the price of games. Like that. Sorry, it just kind of is what it is. I'm sorry.
Do you think they were going to give it to you for free? I don't know.
We're out of the era of $20 games.
You think your whining on Twitter is going to make Nintendo be like, no, you made a really good point. Let's drop the price down to 20. It's like it's like the people on TikTok who are like, Vladimir Putin, you're such a bad guy. It's like, what do you think that's going to do? You think he's going to see your TikTok and be like, great
you're
point.
So right.
I will stop doing what I'm doing. What? Anyway, so there's a new Mario vs. Donkey Kong. I'm not gonna lie, the Prince of Persia game looks pretty cool. It's a side scroller.
Okay.
They're making a Spy Family game.
Okay.
Yeah, I legitimately surprised me. It actually looks like a kind of cute slice of life game.
Okay.
And
I can get behind that.
It looks like it'd be pretty fun. Super Mario RPG, which is cool. I'm going to buy that at some point. So there's also Princess Peach Showtime, which is a Princess Peach game. That actually looks pretty solid. Because the premise is she gets invited to watch this show, and then the bad guy shows up and then starts taking stuff over. But because she has the kid from The Simpsons, the girl one,
Lisa?
as a sidekick, look up a picture of Princess Peach Showtime and look at the star and tell me that's not Lisa Simpson.
Hold on.
Well, you look that up. So, and then because it's based around these different theater shows, she has a different power every show. So one show she's a sword fighter, one show she's a kung fu master. One, she's a chef. One, she's a detective. It's
That's
really
actually
cool.
really cool
That it keeps switching for each show. So it looks really good. Not my kind of game.
Not Lisa Simpson. That's
what I'm saying.
So sad, bro.
So it looks really solid. Not a game for me. Just not the kind of game I'd enjoy, but it does look good.
Looks good.
Saga Emerald is cringe.
This is related. Did you see that one of the developers of Mario Wonder said that they put Daisy in the game as a playable character because his daughters would always fight over who got to play Peach?
Yeah, I didn't see that, but that checks out. We do need more than one female playable character.
They're like, all right, well, here's all the characters and, the girl one. So
and before you say Toadette, nobody wants to play Toadette.
No one freaking wants Toadette.
The only people who played Toadette played it so that they could get the crown to become Peachette.
Oh,
That's
of course.
it. Nobody played it for Toadette. Calm down. Anyway. Tomb Raider, the Detective Pikachu, blah, blah, blah. This is where it started to lag. Until we got to Luigi's Mansion 2 HD.
That's exciting.
I'm not here for the Dark Moon erasure because that... I don't know why we can't just call it Luigi's Mansion 2, Dark Moon. But okay. One of my top 10 3DS games getting brought back on the Switch. Obviously very excited about that.
W.
Looks great. Coming out summer 2024. Which, I don't know. I'm just going to throw my hat in the ring because I've been right on predictions so many times before. I think Switch 2 is coming out early next year. And by early, I mean March/April. And that's all I'm going to say about that.
When were you ever right about any of this?
That was the joke.
Oh.
Is I've never been right, so therefore, why would I be right now?
Oh, okay.
I'm really feeling it with this one, though.
Guys, this one is different.
I could go on a whole podcast on why I think Switch 2 is coming March 2024, but that's not this episode.
I think this is kind of like the end times where, like, if you put a date in your head, it's just going to be a different date just because you said it was that date.
The Switch 2 is actually what the Book of Revelation was talking about.
Like, if you
no
think
one will
that
know
it's
the
coming
day
out
or
in
the
March,
time.
Right. If you think that it's coming out in March, then it will not come out in March because you think it will come out in March.
But here's the thing, though. According to God's perfect timing, even if I say it's happening in March 2024, and that's the correct thing, I don't know for sure.
Right.
I can guess, but I'll never know for sure.
I just think it's going to come out a lot later than you think.
I don't know. Based on this lineup of games, man.
Dude.
It's
Stranger
rough.
things have happened. Stranger things have happened.
No.
It might be 2025 before we have
it's okay. I'm telling you it's not 2025.
I don't know. I feel like it could be.
Listen, I haven't heard personally.
Holiday 24.
I've heard from YouTubers who've heard from journalists who've heard from people
God, we're saved.
who used the thing, who said 2024. When in 2024, I don't know. But it's anyway.
Well, I read on 4chan that it is. My uncle works at Nintendo.
This was the weird part of the Direct where they took time to say, hey, we're building a Nintendo museum.
What?
They were like, yeah, they're building a
Where?
Nintendo museum in Japan.
Let's
And
go.
They took time out of the Direct to be like, so, hope you like those games. Now, let's show you this. Which the whole time, I instantly thought, I was like, Switch 2? No way.
No way.
Ain't no way. They don't
I
do
really
that.
love how Nintendo is really like, everyone's like, oh my gosh, another console? And they're like, a museum. And we're like, why?
And it was, the video was so weird because it was like a slow zoom out of a rooftop that had the like question mark block on it.
That's weird.
And then they were like, by the way, museum. And then after that,
I'm not mad.
This was my favorite part of the Direct. Was they announced release dates for the Zelda and Ganondorf amiibo and the Noah and Mio amiibo from Xenoblade 3, and they announced that Sora is getting an amiibo as the last, like that's the last Smash amiibo, and then they all have them until
That's
the next
wild.
game when they have to make more. Now, fun little side story is Zelda and Ganondorf went up for pre-order yesterday, and Noah and Mio went up for pre-order yesterday. So I was sitting at work when all of this happened because God forbid Nintendo schedule a Direct for any time I'm not at work.
Right. Time zones are rough.
So the pre-orders go up. I get Noah and Mio. That's great. I get Ganondorf. That's cool. I pre-order Zelda. Doesn't go through the first time. And I got really worried that they were going to sell out and I wasn't going to get one. So I did it again. But this time, they said, hey, we see there's some interesting activity on your bank account. Are you okay? Like, we need you to verify through it, like sending you a verification code to your phone. And I verified it. And I was like, oh. So 4 amiibo is the cap on how much I can buy before you start sussing me out. Cool.
So you Essentially, hit your credit limit.
Yeah.
With your amiibo purchases.
I did get all of them. Zelda went through twice, so I had to cancel one of them. But that was very cool. After that, they announced F-Zero 99, which is going to replace Pac-Man 99, which is so sad because that's one of Jackson's favorite games.
That's stupid. I
think you'd like F-Zero 99. I watched some
What
gameplay.
is F-Zero 99? What is F-Zero?
It's a racing game.
Is it racing?
Like Mario Kart.
Track. It's a good Mario Kart track.
It's like Mario Kart, but more intense. And this one has 99
Pac-Man 99
people.
is fun. I just wish more people played so that they could justify keeping the servers open.
Anyway, so they did that, and then they announced a bunch of weird stuff. Oh, I forgot. Trombone Champ
For the Switch. It's going down.
Very
I can't wait.
They also announced the last Mario Kart 8 wave.
Okay.
Which they showed Daisy Circuit from the Wii.
Yes.
And
iconic.
They're bringing in Diddy Kong, Funky Kong, Pauline, and Peachette.
Let's go.
The last one is weird, but the first three are pretty cool.
Dude, Funky Kong was my main on Mario Kart Wii. For real.
I got so excited when they brought back Funky Kong.
I cannot wait.
I picked up my phone. They didn't even finish the trailer. I picked up my phone and I text Colin in all caps. They're adding Funky Kong to Mario Kart.
That's
Repeat.
good.
They're adding Funky Kong to Mario Kart.
Oh.
And then Among Us got to be the second to last thing announced, where they announced a new map, but it was the second to last thing in the direct.
How did they get prime time slot or like that?
It's because they're closing the Switch out. They got nothing else to show because the last thing in this direct was a remake of an old game.
What was it?
That just said 2024. It was Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door. And everyone was like, "Oh, so you didn't announce a single new game for Switch this entire direct?"
That's rough, buddy.
That wasn't already announced.
What about Tomodachi Life? Like, where?
That's what I'm saying, bro. Where's Tomodachi Life? They're saving it for Switch 2.
Yeah, because it's
That's
too
what it is.
it's too much
Too
power
powerful.
for the the original Switch. And
We
other
only get
Nintendo
one
news,
good. We only get one good Mii game per Nintendo console.
per console.
We got Miitopia. That's it.
That's all you get. In other Nintendo news, there's been some rumors flying around
I'm just gonna die.
Live-action Zelda movie produced by Universal. And I just think you're doing a disservice to the art style of any Zelda game ever by making this a live-action movie. And I don't like that. Because if you make a live-action movie, and even if it's good, like, it could be good, I don't know. But I just, like, why not just do animated? What is wrong with animated movies? And it's so hard because, you know, everyone's on strike and you just don't know what that looks like. So maybe strike will reside and everything will, like, kind of shift around, hopefully, and we'll say, oh, actually, maybe we should do animated. Because I don't even know where these rumors are coming from because no one's working right now. So, I don't know. I just strongly dislike the idea of live-action Zelda because it's just going to look like an old Smosh video, you know? So...
Thank you for setting the stage so eloquently.
Of course.
Eloquently.
I have a snap,
Allow me
so I'm
to
going to
just
let you pop off.
Come in and scream.
Yeah.
This is a terrible idea. And I know I'm probably going to sound like the people who are like, why should we make a Mario movie with Chris Pratt? And then it turned out being good. I'm not saying this is going to turn out and be bad. Now, for the people who want a source, just to cover our bases, it comes from My Time to Shine, hello, on Twitter, who, according to all of the news articles who've posted about it, say he has a really reputable track record. I don't know personally. It's one of those things where, like, IGN and stuff says that he has a really good track record, but no one's, like, independently verified whether or not that's true. So, I don't know. My thing is, you have to go back to the art style of the original game, right? Like, Mario, animated. The Witcher, that's a more realistic art style in the game. So making a live action Netflix series, that checks out. Castlevania has an animated series on Netflix. That checks out. Live action Zelda would just end up feeling like another Lord of the Rings, but slightly different. Now, to be fair, we don't have a lot of great medieval movies out there. Like for the medieval movie I'm writing, I was trying to find good comparisons, and there really aren't any. So I get it, but also
the only one I can think of is like A Princess Bride, or maybe A Knight's Tale.
I've never seen the second one.
I don't know. Honestly, A Knight's Tale is super overrated, but that's another conversation.
Here's the thing, and one of the things listed in this article was like Universal may be going with live action because Zelda is much more serious than Mario, so therefore it needs to be live action. And and this kind of goes back to like the whole Ahsoka thing earlier, is I don't like the connotation that in order for something to be serious or valid, it has to be in live action, which is a stigma that Hollywood has had for decades upon decades, despite the fact that like anime outgrosses pretty much all of it. And not that it's about money, but also what are people watching? Like, I don't know, your hardcore fans who like Zelda are probably more prone to watch anime than they are a live action thing. And I'm not saying that this needs to be an anime, but I do think it could be an animated movie and still be very serious. Take something like Puss in Boots, for example, it was a kids movie. Well, okay, I don't like using the term kids movie. It was a family movie. And it had a lot more serious elements in it, but was still enjoyable to kids. And I think you could do something like that with Zelda. It doesn't have to be live action just to get the more serious tone across. I also, I've never been one to say, like, yeah, let's do live action. You know what Nintendo franchise would be really cool in live action is Metroid. Like, that's one I could get behind because she's wearing a helmet the whole time.
Right.
And, like, that's, like, just do kind of like early days of Marvel where they just put Robert Downey Jr. in an Iron Man suit and then did everything practically. I think that would look really cool for a Metroid.
It's also hard because studios talk about making live action shows as if every time you do live action, it's profitable. Like they tried to do a Halo show that went horribly wrong, and it was live action. And I'm not saying the Halo would have been better if it was animated, but don't assume because it's not animated that you have a safety net of like, oh, people will go see it. Because I think there is kind of, I would understand from a studio's perspective of like, we don't want to make the audience feel alienated because it's animated. Of like, oh, I don't want to go see an animated movie. I would understand that perspective if a live action movie was more secure, but it's not. It's almost less secure because we have so many more things to freaking compare it to.
Right.
And so it's going, like, if it's going to bomb, at least try to make it like true to the story, that what the story needs. That's
exactly.
kind of that's a big issue I have with it.
And
is
also,
they're talking like it's secure.
Here's the thing, is I feel like it's a lot easier to excuse a voice in an animated movie than it is to excuse an actor in a live action movie. Because like, if they pick a bad actor for Link in an animated movie where it's just the voice, okay, I can excuse that because it's a voice. Like it's voice acting.
Like,
I don't have to stare at your face.
Whatever. But the animation,
but if they pick
like,
Tom
if the animation
Holland
is crisp,
for the live action Zelda movie, I have to stare at Tom Holland's face for an hour and a half to 2 hours. And I constantly reminded, like, that's why they would never pick Chris Pratt for a live action Mario movie, but that's why they picked him for the animated ones. Because we also have to factor in that actors do so much now that it's very hard to not see them in a role. Like, you see Chris Pratt and you think, what's his name? Star-Lord. Parks and Rec. Jurassic World. Like, you think all of these other things, and it kind of takes you out. Or like Chris Evans, you think Captain America, Robert Downey Jr., you think Iron Man, Chris Hemsworth, Thor. Like, whereas animation, if they're a good voice actor, you won't be as distracted by the fact that, oh, it's this person playing this character. So,
like I can watch Steve Carell voice a character in an animated movie, and while in my brain I know it's Steve Carell, I'm not thinking, oh, that's Michael Scott, like this and that. Where if I see him in a live action role, I really do connect it to my favorite Steve
You
Carell
think,
character.
oh, that's Michael Scott.
Oh, that's Michael Scott. So I think that's a good point. And this whole movie, and this is most movies, it will come down to who's writing it, who's directing it, who's acting in it, and how much helicopter parenting is Nintendo going to do. My theory is Nintendo's going to do a whole lot of helicopter parenting on this movie because that's what they did with the Mario movie, and that's what they did when they tried to make a Zelda show with Netflix and it got leaked, and they said, well, if you're going to leak stuff, then we don't want to work with you.
I'm pretty sure the last Zelda project was live action. Like they've gone down the live action. No, I'm pretty sure it was live
Interesting.
action. They've gone down this live
like
action train before, and it didn't get very far.
You know what this means?
So
is we need to watch the original Zelda cartoon.
I think we should.
And then,
Absolutely, I think we should.
Do a little video on that. So,
anyway,
anywho,
I'm done talking. Go.
Final piece of news. This one will be quicker. Is that the Taylor Swift Eras Tour is coming to theaters, and not only is it coming to theaters, it's demolishing ticket sale records, and it broke the record for most pre-sale ticket sales in 24 hours because it made $26 million in 24 hours for ticket sale. The only other movie that has come close was No Way Home, which did $16 million. The Taylor Swift Eras Tour sold $10 million more in pre-sale than No Way Home, the most hype movie of our generation. How do we feel? Because I'm a Taylor Swift fan. I went to the Eras Tour. I kid you not. Nick had to drive me home at 2 a.m. because we couldn't get a ride.
Did.
And so it
on my birthday of all days,
right?
By the
On
way.
your birthday, which was a horrible friend move for me. But you're such a ride or die.
I warned you and you didn't listen.
No, here's the thing. When we say ride or die, it's either I ride with Nick, I get a ride from Nick, or I die. That's what this means. So this is not coming at a hate from Taylor Swift. I'm a Taylor Swift fan. This is coming out of a moral question I have of, does this count? Because this is a concert film. This is not a storyteller thing. And, you could argue a lot of work went into the concert to tell a narrative and a story. And, she's very story focused and a lot of people worked behind the scenes on that. And I'm sure that the concert film was directed very well and edited very well and looks incredible. I don't doubt that at all. I just don't. And I'm not saying that it shouldn't be in theaters because I think it's cool because the tickets were very expensive and, timing was awkward. So many people wanted to go see that this is kind of your alternative. If you don't want to pay $100 for a ticket, pay $20, go see it in the theater. It's not the same experience, but it's close. And I think that's a good idea. I just don't like that we're treating this like a movie. Because it's not a movie. This is something completely different. Don't demoralize cinema for the Taylor Swift Eras Tour. Coming from a Taylor Swift fan, don't do that. Don't lower the bar of what can break theater records. Because, yes, this is a theater ticket sales, but this doesn't freaking count because it's not a movie. And so, I don't know. That's bothered me. And it's brought up a lot of ethical questions that I have not really thought about because special event theater showings have been around for a while, but this is the only one that is big enough to actually get people's attention. So I don't really know how I feel about it. If you have anything to add, feel free. I'm just kind of sad that this is where we're at. And I think strikes have to do with this too, is we're please, something that will do well in the theater. Please just put it out there.
Put something on the screen. We gotta show something. I don't have a ton to add. I do think it's really weird that it's being counted with ticket sales.
Mm-hmm.
Because here's the thing: there's another comparison I can make, but I won't. Because it's this thing that's pretending to be a movie is that is now masquerading as a movie, is setting the record very high so that an actual movie will never be able to break that record again.
Right.
And it's like, that's not fair to movies because movies have their own category for a reason because they can only do so much. So that's why you put different like concert performances. And I'm not saying putting it in a theater is wrong. Put whatever you want in a movie theater. I'm just saying don't count those ticket sales as movie ticket sales. Now, maybe if we weren't on strike, that would be different because there'd be movies out and people would be like, well, we have this movie and this movie and this movie coming out. And, you know, that's what we're going to watch. And that's what we're going to talk about ticket sales for.
But it kind of looks like this is the only thing we have going for theaters, which, you know,
I mean, it kind of
we got some stuff coming out. But based on the movie we saw that we're going to talk about here in a minute, you know, we're kind of in that drought for the theater year, and right as air quote theaters are back, which we've been saying theaters are back for freaking 2 years. It's frustrating, but theaters are back,
yet they're not,
and now we're on strike
because we have nothing to put in theaters.
Right. And so it's like, yeah, theaters are back, but also, please, for the love of God, make something good to put in the theater. And I will say, that being said, I kind of want the popcorn bucket that says the Eras Tour.
No.
Just so that I can be that annoying punk with the Eras Tour popcorn bucket.
No.
It'd be so funny. Granted, positive side of this, I think this is probably really good for local movie theater economy. Just to have, a banger in a dry season.
Well,
but
I mean, the U.S. government did, give Taylor Swift credit for stimulating the U.S. economy because of her tour. And I'm like,
oh, yeah.
That's great for the economy. I don't like that one person has that much power, though.
Right. It's like, oh, Taylor Swift is not our savior.
Because Taylor Swift could turn around and be like, all right, now tank the U.S. economy. And
right.
The Swifties
and we're like,
would be
whoa.
like, whatever you say, queen. And then, boom. Economy is gone.
Economy gone.
What if you wanted to have an economy, but Taylor Swift
said no. Anywho, that's what's up. I think it's hypest. That's the movie news. Moving into the main topic, we watched the hypest movie franchise of all time.
No.
TBH.
No. Don't even.
I don't think they're
stop.
like
Don't
Marvel
lie to the
who?
audience.
Marvel who?
Don't
lie to the
audience.
When I think of iconic movie trilogies, I think Christopher Nolan's Batman. I think Iron Man. I think Cars.
Star Wars?
I think Star Wars. But above all of these, I think My Big Fat Greek Wedding, TBH.
I can't believe you convinced me to do this episode. So here's the thing. Jackson comes to me 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And is like, so we have an open spot in September. What if we did an episode on My Big Fat Greek Wedding? Because the new one's coming out and we can go see it and we can do an episode. And I was like,
he was like,
no.
That's stupid. I don't know.
That's cringe. That's dumb. 3 days passes and he's like, but what if we did? And I was like, okay, fine.
Okay, fine.
Let's do it. What else are we going to cover? There's nothing else.
Right, exactly.
We obviously have to wait until Ahsoka ends to do our episode.
Right.
So
and TBH, I just wanted to go to the movie theater, and this was the only thing that was coming out that I cared about. It was like, bro.
I wasn't planning on going to see it at any point in time for any reason.
Have you seen any of these movies before we did this?
Nope. None.
Okay.
Not a one. I knew they existed. I knew there was at least one. I didn't know that there was 2.
And now 3.
Let alone 3. Which I have thoughts.
I have some thoughts. I watched the first one time in middle school because my granny made us watch it. She was like, this is such a good movie. And she said, and I'll never forget this, she said, this movie will either make you say, thank God I'm not Greek, or make you wish you were Greek.
Okay.
And
No. Hold on. True.
Let her cook. Right.
I wish I was Greek.
Right.
Because that's the one thing coming out of all 3 movies. Yeah, the last one's a little campy. Not the best one. I personally think the second one is the best one, but we'll get to that. I'll be honest. I look at the way the family operates and compare it to how the family operates now. the difference in standard American family culture versus the Greek family culture. And I'm like, man, I mean, it's a little awkward at times.
Right.
But I kind of wish we were more like that. Like,
Right.
the family lived close together. We all had each other's backs when something went wrong. Like, we were just that, like, close. And I do kind of wish we had that culture a little more. And I think the dad could have definitely loosened up on the whole, like, you got to marry Greek. I mean, I get it. It was, like, that is how their culture
joke.
works. But
and that's
I would
culture.
imagine a lot of that was played up for the joke of the movie.
Right.
So I get that, but I also understand, like, when you do keep it in your culture, you don't have to worry about, like, anything getting changed. So I understand that part.
Right.
Man,
That is
I was watching the movie with my mom, and she was like, what if we moved to Greece? And I was like, did they speak English there? And she was like,
no.
kind of. And I was like, I don't know.
Let me think about that.
She's
one.
like, you know where else they do it? Italy. You want to move to Italy? And I was like, no. And she was like, you want to move to France? And I was like, I don't want to move to anywhere in Europe. Thank you very much.
I want to stay here in America.
It's an inferior country. Well, okay. Well, Europe's not a country; it's a continent.
Right.
Sorry, I was speaking more strictly about the UK.
Oh, my bad.
What a bunch of losers! Because America will always be superior to the UK. Because at least we didn't lose a Revolutionary War, despite being the leading military power at the time, to a bunch of farmers. Okay.
Not you.
That's a massive L, and that's what. Oh, I had a really good comeback.
It's not you. It's us.
There's a word that the British spell with 2 L's that we don't. I don't remember what it was though.
It'll
Someone
come to you.
pointed out in the comments. Anyway, the joke was like they spell this word with 2 L's because they got the extra one from the Revolutionary War.
That's
that's me being
good.
an American nationalist out of the way. Continue.
That's good. Yeah. So, we have these 3 movies. We can just go one by one. Overall, my personal favorite is the first one. And here's my diagnosis. Is the first movie is a loving rom-com. Really funny, really sweet. It's really just a sweet movie. And like we talked about, I really appreciate the kind of consistent family value throughout this entire movie. And I also really appreciate, and this is going to sound really basic, but I liked that the main guy, her husband, was actually a good guy. Because in all of these like rom-coms and, like romantic, like subplot, whatever, the main guy is usually insufferable and like actually kind of toxic. But in this movie, he like dealt with her family like really well.
Crazy family.
Their family's insane. But I also like you said, there is a boundary that has been crossed in this movie. That's the point. That's kind of the joke is, they don't have boundaries. But it's also like, at the end of the day, they all just really loved each other. And he was in on that. And they eventually, like, even after, like, getting over their cultural differences, like, they loved him, too. And he loved them. And even through all that, there was never a point where they were going to break up or they weren't going to work. And even in, like, movies I really love, like, Father of the Bride and, like, whatever, there's always the conflict between the married couple when you do comedies like this where someone's getting married but a third party doesn't like who's getting married. It always like weighs on that couple's relationship. But in this movie, he's just a really solid guy and the conflict is just with the family. They're like rock tight. They're rock solid. And so it's like, I really appreciated that about this movie, that they're actually a really sweet couple with just some family issues to work out. And we've been talking about this a lot recently on the show, is I feel like this is one of those simple movies that isn't like trying to push anything, whatever. It's just like, this is a funny, sweet, simple movie. And you could make a case and be like, it's making fun of this culture, this, that. But, like, it's not about that. Like, the tone of this movie for me is very, like, this is just a sweet, fun relationship movie. And I really appreciate those movies. And we don't see enough of them anymore. And, you know, I'll be honest, spoiler alert, the third one is not very good. It's not.
No.
But regardless, I enjoy seeing those simple movies in the theater because theater experience nowadays is more of like the high action epic movie, this and that. And so just seeing really calm, sweet movies in theaters is a completely different experience. And I really appreciate those experiences because they're pretty rare. And I just miss good rom-coms. Like, what happened to good rom-coms?
You know where all the good rom-coms are at?
Where?
Anime.
You know, I'm not going to say you're wrong.
No, I'm cooking. Okay?
Let him cook.
You want that good, like, entertaining rom-com? Anime. Easy. That's why I've watched... Hold on.
Gosh.
By the way, the word I was thinking of is canceled. Has 2 L's in the UK, but only 1 here, because we don't take that extra L. We handed it to the British.
Because we won the Revolutionary War.
Yes. I've watched 30 romance anime, by the way.
Wow. Okay.
Everything past number 15 is pretty mid, because that's halfway through the list. But everything like 1 through 15, solid, because like number 1, Love is War.
Of course, iconic.
So I'm just saying, that's what you're looking for. Watch more anime. Anyway.
Interesting.
I agree with what you're saying, and I'll just be quite candid with everyone. I don't have a ton to say about these movies, because usually when I have a lot to say about a movie, it's because I either really liked it or really hated it. And this just kind of fell somewhere in the middle, where I felt entertained. Like you said, I didn't feel like they were pushing anything or like there was some grander agenda other than maybe just to be Greek. But even then, I don't know. You could argue Americans make that with, like, I don't know, Top Gun Maverick, where they're like, I don't know, just be American. So that's to be expected.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was good. I really enjoyed the first one a lot more than I thought I was going to. I thought it was going to be this, like, kind of dumb rom-com that my mom wanted to watch and you wanted to watch for the podcast. And I went into it like, oh, I'm just watching this for the podcast. And then by the time I got to the second and third one, I was like, okay, well, now I kind of want to see where this is going.
Yeah.
Like, I'm invested now. So I do agree with what you're saying about the guy and, like, just being a good guy. Because that's really, if you're worth anything as a guy who's getting in a relationship, that's how you should be, is you shouldn't be so, like, well, you should get rid of your family because they don't like me. You should be like, no, how can I bridge the gap and resolve this issue so that we can all be happy? And I thought it was great that he made a genuine effort to learn about their culture and get into it and, like, learn Greek. Like, by the second and third movie, he was speaking Greek.
Right.
Like, that was a really nice thing of, like, yeah, he loves her so much that he's willing to do these things that he wouldn't normally do.
The sacrificial
outside the context of their relationship.
Right. It's great. Good for him. I think,
other than that, I don't have a ton to say about the first movie.
Yeah. First movie. I don't know. I'm back and forth on if the first or the second one was funnier. I think
the second one.
I think the second one is more unhinged. I think the second one is funnier. I think the first one is sweeter. So the first one is a rom-com. The second one is like a family comedy. And then
the third one is just an existential crisis.
The third one is just, I would say that it's just a Greek beauty vibe movie, but it wasn't directed well enough to be a good vibe. So I don't know. Ooh. I don't know what to call the third one.
The third one is, we wanted to make a third one, but it's been 21 years since the first one came out.
So no one wanted to film more than 10 minutes.
The dad is dead. The mom has Alzheimer's.
Is on the way out.
Or no, she has dementia.
Spoilers for My Big Fat Greek Wedding, but duh, and I don't think you care. So
it's one of those movies, like, it's not, it doesn't do much for you if it's spoiled.
Right.
If we're just gonna talk about the movies,
Right.
right? Let me tell you something I didn't like.
Okay.
And maybe this was like, oh, we're doing this so that, well, actually, no, I can't say they did this to undermine the point.
Mm-hmm.
Because the whole point of the first movie is like, Tula doesn't marry someone who's Greek.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like the big
Whoa,
plot
that's the
shifter.
conflict. Yeah.
The conflict in the second one is that you find out her parents aren't actually married, which the mom throws a really big fuss about.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
All right.
I'm not a woman, right? So I don't get it. Like, I understand a woman's whole thing is like, they live for their wedding day, and it's such a big deal, right? But to me, as a guy, which maybe this furthers the point made in the movie,
right?
Is I didn't get it. I was like, I don't get it. You
why?
guys have been together. You've slept together. You've had kids.
Yeah.
You've lived a life. You've built a life together for the last 50 years, but you're going to hang up your cape on the fact that a paper wasn't signed. And now you're like, well, I'm not going to do anything unless you propose to me. And I was right there with the dad.
What?
I was like, what? What do you mean?
Every good story starts with, I'm not a woman, right? But
I'm not a woman, but
I
did really like when he got really honest with Tula and was like, I can't sleep without her there. And like, especially because that came after all of the showboating and the stubbornness of like, well, I'm not going to do it because she's not going to blah, blah, blah. And then he like does get really honest with her. Is like, I don't like sleeping on the couch. She actually does do a lot for me. And like acknowledges all of these things.
Because it humanizes her dad. Because he's kind of the villain, in a sense.
Absolutely.
So
I did like that this movie did lean into like the reality behind traditional gender roles, where like the dad is supposed to be the one who provides and works and all that, and then the mom is the one who takes care of the kids and takes care of the house and runs everything behind the scenes. And it's like, when she stops doing those things, you understand how much women actually do.
Right.
And I think that can go unappreciated sometimes, of like, everyone makes it a joke, like, oh yeah, get back to the kitchen. Like, okay, but if they do cook for you, like, I don't know, that's really nice. Like,
because the mom in this movie was a really, really good mom. Like, she was actually like, not saying that like being a good mom means you cook good food. No, she was a good mom because she cared very dearly about her children. And even when the dad was super stubborn in this, she was honest with her kids and was like, hey, I'm on your side, this and that, and like this and that. And like she was a good mom. And so it was way more than, I think the second movie did a good job of that. And it wasn't like, because in the first movie, that's kind of the joke, is like, oh, she's the Greek mom that has to cook for everyone. And it's like, yeah, that's funny and that's good. But the second one really was like, yeah, she does that and we really appreciate her. And that was like, oh, that's tender. Especially as like, I can relate, because like every weekend my mom invites a ton of people over and always cooks for everyone, and it's super sweet. And it's like, yeah, we appreciate that very dearly. So I agree. I liked that aspect.
And there's all the small stuff of like, she cooks, she cleans, does the laundry, takes care of the kids. Like, as someone who works all day, if I were in that position to come home and all of those things are done because my wife did all of that, I would be very appreciative, because that means I don't have to do it when I get home. And it's not like you have to do this. This is your role. It's like you do it because that's your role, and you do care about your family and the well-being of the household and like all of those things. Because let's be honest, yes, working is very important, but I would argue taking care of the household is more important, because that's where all of the important stuff happens.
Right.
You go out and work and you make money, yes, to support the household, but if you've got a really poorly run household, then like everything's kind of out of whack. I did think it was really funny when Tula wanted to go like do the computer classes and her dad said no, and her mom was like, he may be the head, but I'm the neck, and the neck turns the head. And I was like, yeah, that's actually pretty accurate.
So based. That was really funny.
Because here's the thing. If I had a wife, hypothetically speaking,
if in theory,
and I didn't want to do something, but then she came and said, you should do this, I'd be like, no, you make a good point. Sure, let's do that thing. And then, like, that makes sense. That checks out.
Yeah. This is overall, the overarching theme is like family in all these movies. And so the second one is more
Fast and the Furious, My Big Fat Greek Wedding crossover win.
It's all about
anyway,
family.
Continue. Sorry, I didn't
No,
mean to
you're
interrupt
good.
you.
That was really funny. The second one is more about her daughter. And her daughter frustrated me a little bit just because, like, the angsty teen character doesn't work for me. I'm always kind of like, all right, somebody put this
is dumb.
It's like, put this kid in her place. Like, somebody like discipline their kid over here.
I get it. Your granddad's like, you need to marry a Greek boy.
Right.
Like, yeah, okay, I get it.
Like, that sucks.
But also,
that's gross.
Calm down. You're like, I don't know, 17?
Right.
I think because she was about to go to college.
Go crush on Alex Wolff for a minute. Like,
yeah, stop. Is that who the guy was?
Yeah, that was the guy. Was Alex Wolff from...
Oh, I totally forgot. I was
Yeah.
trying to get there, and then I got distracted with a really great subtangent.
Yeah.
The thing I didn't like is that, like, they set up Tula to be like, oh, she's not going to marry a Greek guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then it seemed like that was the direction they were going with her daughter of, like, well, I don't want to marry a Greek guy because I want to branch out. And, like, they were trying to make that okay.
Right.
And I get that. Because if you have her marry a Greek guy, it kind of just reinforces, unless, because the thing they did try to set up was, like, all of the Greek guys are kind of trashy or like they're not good. And that feels very disingenuous to an entire culture.
Right.
When there are plenty of good Greek guys in the family. So it's like, I thought it was great that by the end of the movie, she found that guy and he was Greek. And I thought that was cool. I was like, oh, look at that.
Cool.
A very well-dressed,
well-adjusted,
very nice Greek boy. Very handsome. Like, yeah, sure.
They work.
Go for it. And then the third movie, he's gone.
He's gone. And then she starts falling
Replaced with a different Greek guy.
Falling for freaking Aristotle, which is a crap name, by the way. Like, what?
It's Greek.
What on earth?
Did you know that?
Give me a word. Any word. And I'll show you how the root of that word is Greek. That is such a funny running bit. But, yeah, I think it's interesting because I think the story was more of, like, the daughter feels left out because she's, like, half Greek. And so she's like, I don't want to be Greek. And it's like the angsty teen classic, like, I want a different life. This isn't my dream, Dad. It's your dream. But I also feel like she, like, finding that Greek boy and, like, they could relate about their families, like, that was really what she needed of, like, oh, I'm not alone. And, like, we can relate about this, which is what makes me so sad that he wasn't in the third one. Granted, I think Alex Wolff's career has kind of gone a lot further since My Big Fat Greek Wedding 2.
What has he done?
Huh?
What has he done?
He's in Jumanji. He's in Hereditary. He was in Old, which he mainly does horror movies. So really the only other thing I've seen him in is Jumanji.
Well, My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3 could be described as a horror movie, depending on how you look at it.
So, yeah. So, the third one, not great.
There was not... Okay. It bothers me that all the movies are centered around a wedding when that really felt like a subplot of the third one.
Yeah, the third one was
like,
not about a wedding.
It wasn't even a Greek wedding.
No.
I mean, it was, but it was like...
It's like, not really. And they
not
may
really.
Have, like, they may have, like, written themselves into a corner with the title. And it's like, My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
No,
it was like
no,
every...
no. They set it up perfectly in the second movie. It could be their daughter's wedding, and then that's the end.
Yeah,
and then
could
you've
have
got all three
generation.
generations had a wedding. You got the parents in the second one, Tula in the first one, and then her kid in the third one.
All
bada bing, bada boom. I thought that's where they were going to go.
And I kind of... At first, I wasn't too thrilled about her parents realizing they weren't actually married. I was like, all right, you're looking for an excuse to do another wedding. But I was also like... Oh, I need to lower my expectations of this movie. This is like just a funny, like...
Don't think about it.
It's like, it's not that deep, bro. They just need another wedding. And so I made my peace with that. The third one, though, it wasn't even like there wasn't even like a payoff because the characters that got married were new characters that had no depth, and I didn't care about them like at all.
I didn't really get, and I couldn't get super invested in the whole like that guy's dad, who by the way is a secret brother of Tula and Nick. So that was weird.
Yeah, they were like the forbidden lovers, but like not in a well-written way. It was just like, you can't be together because, and it's like, oh.
And then he went to America and met your mom, and blah blah.
And it's like,
anyway,
okay.
I couldn't get behind that dad being like, you can't marry her, she's not Greek. And I was like, oh, it's almost like we've done this song and dance before.
Yeah.
Except instead of the girl being a guy who's just a white guy, she's like, what was she, Syrian, I think?
I think so, yes.
And I'm like, I mean, dude, it's 2023. Let it go.
Right.
Like I don't know. We've done this song and dance before, and now we're doing it again.
Yeah. This movie, the third one still didn't feel too agenda-y to me, though. Like, they had some, like, ideals that I didn't fully agree with, but it was all, like, I never felt like I was being forced to accept stuff. So, I was okay with that.
That one cousin was kind of sussing me out. I don't know.
Not Joey Fatone being gay in the second
No,
one.
no, not him. The one.
Which one?
Who was like the mayor.
Oh, the mayor?
That one.
Oh, well, yeah.
I could never get a read on that one.
Oh, like,
and that was kind of bothering me. I was like, here's the thing. Joey Fatone, that's one thing. Sure, go for it. Like,
what do you mean
at
you
least
could
you're
not
open
get a
about
read?
it.
She was gay.
Yeah, no, but that was the thing is I couldn't get a read on if it was like a gay or a non-binary thing. And I was just confused the whole movie, and I was like, this doesn't need to be here.
It was kind of like
it could be very simple. You don't have to overcomplicate it.
I didn't feel like it was super necessary to the plot. It didn't, but I was also kind of like, whatever.
What's funny
like,
is
I don't care.
think Joey Fatone is gay in real life.
No, he's
so
definitely
that was
not.
actual acting. That was really funny.
Was Joey Fatone the gay one? I don't know. No,
actually, no, I don't, because that was
Joey Fatone was Joey Fatone was the one that has the wife that dresses super scampy.
No.
Right? Was Nick
Joey
the gay
Fatone
one?
was the... No, you're right. It is Joey Fatone.
Joey Fatone was the gay one?
Yes.
Dude, that is one thing I will say about this movie.
Because that was his sister who dressed really...
Oh, you're right.
Skimpy.
They weren't married. That is what I'll say about this movie.
Or not cousins. They were siblings.
I cannot keep up with the characters. There's so many freaking characters, and I understand that's the point, but man, it's hard to keep up with, and I don't know anyone's names. So
man, I wish I was... how do I say his name? I wish I was... Hold on.
Homeschool.
Okay, I wish I was Elliot... Hold on.
Oh my gosh, he cannot read this freaking word.
Okay, I wish I was Elias Canva. The guy who plays Aristotle. Wish I was him so I could be with Paris Miller. That'd be cool. Anyway. It's a really long-winded way of getting that
Just
across.
say Aristotle.
I was trying to be I was trying to be nice.
You know.
Also.
And
this was really weird to me.
Okay.
But I thought it was funny. So, Tom Hanks has a producer credit on this movie.
Yeah, he does. And so does his wife.
Do you know where they both just got citizenship to?
What?
Greece. They
For
both
real?
just became citizens of Greece. There's a specific reason why that I won't say on the podcast. You can do your own research if you want to find out. Or, I'm sorry, there's like a conspiracy theory as to why they're now citizens of Greece, and I'll explain it to you after. But I thought it was really funny. I was like, so did they become producers on this movie so that when they apply to be citizens of Greece, they'd be like, yeah, we know
we did
know
so
about
much
the Greek.
for tourism here, guys. Like, we know
Yeah,
what's up.
We produced 3 My Big Fat Greek Wedding movies. It's like the equivalent of a weeb being like, hey, I watch anime, so I know about Japan.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, let's go to the
you should let me
Nintendo
be
Museum.
a Japanese citizen. I play Nintendo games. I'm Japanese.
Yeah.
Like,
The third one is definitely my least favorite. Sorry. The son I'm going to do something. The sun keeps moving, and I keep having to adjust my ISO. I'm closing the freaking curtains.
Wow. It's almost like I close my curtains every time so that I don't have to deal with that. Because it's like you can control your lighting. Wow,
Whoa.
That's crazy.
Who is going to tell me that?
Me,
anyway,
just now.
So anyway, the what was I saying?
I don't know.
I was saying something really good, and I cannot
I worked
remember what
today,
it was.
and I'm so tired. I genuinely don't remember.
So the third one, obviously my least favorite. Just not super strong, but I think like not even in the, what?
I'm sorry.
What?
This probably isn't.
What?
This probably isn't that funny, but it's really funny to me. So, you know how Paris is a brunette in the second movie?
Yeah, and
she's like really smart.
Yeah,
and she gets in all these colleges. Well, she's a blonde in the third movie and failed her first year of college. What did they mean by this? Are they trying to say that blondes are dumb?
No, she got dumb blonde syndrome. Oh no. Oh, guys, we have to heal DBS. That's really funny.
It's not that funny, but
Dude.
it just came to me. I was like, oh.
I don't know if I liked her like failing college in that movie. Like I was like, that's not her. I thought she was super smart. Like what happened?
She was super smart. Where'd all the brains go? She became blonde.
Oh, she became blonde. That's what happened.
Duh.
Yeah. And it also like frustrated me a little bit because the whole point of the second movie was that they learned to accept that she was going to college away from home.
And then they never really went in on that.
And then in the third movie, they made it almost seem like that was a bad decision. Because it was like, oh, if we could have just been there, then it's like, whoa, hold on. The entire second movie was about how they need to learn boundaries and not be like, and be more okay with her leaving. And then they just completely undid that by making it look like a bad decision. And I did not like that. I also just think that it was just directed really poorly. I don't think it looked good. I'm shocked. How do you film a movie in Greece that doesn't really look that great? Like the scenery.
It made me want to go to Greece.
It made me want to go to Greece, which is great for Greek tourism. And I think like Greece looked great, but you could have composed it a lot better to really like just elevate that, because when you have, and a lot of photographers, a lot of people like learn this the hard way, is a gorgeous setting does not equal a gorgeous shot. Right. And so like you need to still think about your rules of composition, and like you still need a good director to elevate that. That's why like gorgeous nature movies like, you know, The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, like gorgeous shots of like Iceland. But you're like, or Greenland, I don't know, somewhere like that. But like, they're not just, oh, here's Greenland, here's Iceland, you know, wherever. It's like, no, we're carefully crafting shots in Greenland to elevate the like God's natural beauty. What I really don't feel like this was the intention in the third movie. It was like, oh, we're in Greece, it's pretty, it'll look good. It was like, no, like if you're gonna do a Grease vibe movie, make it look good. So I don't know. I also think, and I need to know if you noticed this too, whoever edited this movie needs to be hung by their thumbs. The editing of this movie is atrocious.
I wasn't going to point out the editing. There were certain things about the third one where I was like, should we do it that way? Like the scene at the very end where they're like burying the dad's ashes or whatever. Mm-hmm. I swear I couldn't tell a difference between that scene and just watching a black screen.
It was so freaking dark. And for why?
Like, they did the whole moonlight through the ashes type thing. I was like, What?
It's not that deep, bro. Like,
Did you also? Did it look like some of the shots were pulled from like 2002 B-roll? Like,
yeah.
there were some shots, particularly in the beginning when they were in Chicago, where it looked like it was shot on a like actual film camera, but not a good quality film camera, because it felt like I was watching a movie from 2002.
Yeah.
And that was the time period it was set in. But then you watch Tula pull out the brand new iPhone 14 or whatever was out at the time of them filming. Or like somebody pulled out a very clearly brand new iPad mini. And I was like,
here's
hard
what
pass.
May have happened is they may have used the same Chicago shots from when it originally came out in 2003, which is like very possible. Also, the intro to the third one was atrocious. It was awful. They did a slideshow that was literally just screen caps from the other two movies.
The music was pretty fire, though.
Music was lit. I
love the
that.
music. The music was great. Everything
all
else I could live
all
with.
these movies have great soundtracks. And when I went and saw the third one in theaters, we made a big deal out of it. We like got a group and like we ate tzatziki's before, which is like white people Greek food, but it was delicious.
We have a Greek restaurant here. I really like gyros, man.
Is it authentic?
Gyros slap. Gyros go hard.
Dude, gyros are fire.
And they're run by actual Greek guys. So I feel like I understand them a little better now when I go in. What?
I just have this mental picture of you in this Greek restaurant like, I get it, guys. I saw all three of my big fat Greek wedding movies. I get it, guys. I'm
a little bit of a Greek myself.
I'm basically Greek.
Yeah, I've seen Attack on Titan. I'm Japanese. What do you mean?
What do you mean? What of it? Yeah. So it's just editing bad. I noticed 3 continuity errors in this Hollywood theater movie.
Okay. Whoa.
Can you not shoot a dialogue scene?
Whoa. Okay. Let's back it up. This is not a Hollywood movie. This is like the gray area between indie film and Hollywood.
Yeah.
That's the gray area.
B-tier Hollywood movie.
It's also very weird because of the strikes, I genuinely can't tell how much marketing is being done for all these movies. I don't know. I never realized how big of a role actors played in the marketing of movies.
Right. I'm pretty sure the actors went on like Good Morning America. Did they not? I feel like they did.
Know. I don't think they can. Maybe they were all like, well, we've made all 3 movies. And we don't need to be in the union anymore.
Point, you know. So.
Although, I guess, I don't know. It's weird if you, like, under the rules of the strike, if you direct, write, and act in your own movie, can you still promote it as the director?
Right.
And not as the writer or actor?
I don't know. It's so freaking complicated. Like, it's so, like, nitpicky, like, tiny. Like, you can do this, but a very similar thing, you can't do that. Like, heaven forbid. So, I don't know. It's very, very precise. But I don't like the direction they took with the mom in the third movie.
Oh, with, like, giving her dementia?
Yeah. I thought that just kind of made me sad. I was like, that didn't feel necessary at all. And I think
this felt like. Go ahead.
I think that the way that I can sum up my problems with my Big Fat Greek Wedding 3 is, that was a sentence. Wow. My biggest problem, all summed up, is the point of these movies. The joke was that there's like 100 of them, and they are comedically Greek, and they're intense about it. And in the third one, they took like 5 of those 100 characters, mind you, the least Greek of those like characters, and essentially put them in a spot by themselves. Okay, what's your argument there?
I would say the Millers are the least Greek. Aristotle's the least Greek. I think the other ones get a pass.
Okay, so like,
because the 2 ants were very Greek.
Yeah,
and those
but they
were the only other ones there.
Right. So here's what I'm saying. The first one, you have like 10 cousins, like 5 aunts, the parents, their great-grandmother, who is freaking hilarious, by the way. Their great-grandmother, like all these cousins, all these siblings, all this, and they're all super Greek, and it's super intense. And then the third one, it's Tula and her husband and their daughter, who are like kind of teetering on, like, they're not intensely Greek like the rest of them. Her brother, who's like,
Oh, I forgot he was
Greek.
there.
He's Greek, but not like...
He's Greek. No, he's Greek.
He's Greek. And then the aunts, who are very Greek, and they're very funny. They're probably my favorite part of the movie. But it just like... I feel like the main joke of the franchise was there's a ton of them and they're super Greek. And the third one, there wasn't a whole lot of them and they weren't super Greek. Like,
this feels like the Disney Channel special where they couldn't get all of the actors to sign up to go for the third one. So they found a very convenient way to exclude the people who couldn't go.
No, you're so
And
right.
that was by going to Greece.
No, you're so
and I
right,
think
though.
that is also why the wedding was not focused around like Paris and someone else, because they didn't have the whole family there, and it would have felt even worse if they did it the way they did and then said, oh, by the way, Paris is getting married in Greece.
And no one's there to see it.
And then, yeah, and like the whole family's not there. Like her grandmother's not there. Her aunt isn't there. Like all these other people aren't there. That would feel weird.
That would feel disingenuous, yeah.
So my thought was, if you couldn't get everyone on board, why make a third one?
Yeah.
Like, here's the question. Is the dad actually dead?
I think he is, but I've not confirmed that.
I'm gonna, ooh.
Oh.
According to Google, with 251
upvotes, reviews,
251 ratings, it's sitting at a 2.2%. I'm gonna look up the Rotten Tomatoes in a
That's
minute.
rough. Oh yeah, look at the Rotten Tomatoes score real quick.
But
Um
where's the dad? Michael Constantine, is he dead? Oh, he died in 2021.
Okay.
Okay, see, that checks out though. Like that makes sense why he's not in the movie.
That makes sense. It made sense that he wasn't in it, but I feel like they didn't have to do the mom so dirty.
Right, like they didn't
she's
also
there.
have to handicap her.
Right, like she's there, like use her and use her well.
Let her go. Why didn't she get to go to meet her husband's friends?
Right, because she had a pretty big part in it, TBH. Like she was at home the whole time, but she had a big part. Okay, so the tomato score for My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3, which, tomato score has no bearing on reality.
Well, yeah, because we just found out that they all get paid off.
They should have paid better
on.
people for this one.
We gotta go one at a time.
Oh, you gotta look
We
at all
gotta
of them.
start with
You're
the
so
first
right.
one.
You're so right.
I'm opening the first one, the second one, the third one, and the TV show. Okay.
Can I talk about the TV show real quick? Give a little context. So, right after My Big Fat Greek Wedding came out in 2003. Was it 3 or 2? I think it was 2002. When My Big Fat Greek Wedding came out in 2002, it was a hit. And so CBS decided that after they get married, after honeymoon, they would make a great sitcom. And so there is a 7-episode sitcom called My Big Fat Greek Life with some of the original cast.
No. All the original cast.
Except the husband.
Except for the fact that they, changed Tula's name from being Tula to now her name is Nia, which is, Nia Vardalos' name.
Yeah.
And then instead of Ian Miller, it's Thomas Miller, and he's played by Stephen Eckholt.
Which is a completely different guy.
Completely different guy.
So the show is so fascinating to me, and I only learned this because someone at work told me about it. I had no idea it even existed. And I cannot find it anywhere. There's clips of promotions on YouTube, but no actual episodes. There's 1 or 2 clips that are in 240p. You can order the DVDs on Amazon, but they won't send to the United States. And so apparently that you can watch it on Fubo, which is the shadiest streaming service I've ever seen. But
No,
it also
counts.
It also counts as a cable plan. So it's also $75 a month to subscribe at all. And they claim you can watch it there, but I don't think that's true. And so I'm on a mission to find this show. So if anyone has a DVD copy of My Big Fat Greek Life, all 7 episodes, shoot me a DM because I'm trying to watch it. And if I get a copy of it, I'll make a YouTube video about it. So if you have a copy, shoot me a DM at the Nerdiest Podcast, at the Glass Studios, whatever you need to do. Thank you very much. I'm on the look.
You know what? You know what I forgot from the first movie that I didn't appreciate?
What?
Was in the first part of the movie, they talk about how, like, for lack of a better word, ugly Tula is and how unattractive she is, and that's why she's
you're getting
single.
old. Yeah.
And then she's like, oh, okay, puts up her hair, puts in contacts, and becomes like the most attractive person on screen. Like, excuse me. Whoa. That's not how this works.
That's an old trope, I think, is
Like,
like
I don't
she
like
takes off her
that trope.
glasses and she's beautiful. Like,
Oh, yeah.
That's a classic.
The sitcom trope of like, oh my
Oh
gosh,
my
you're
gosh,
a different person.
You're beautiful now.
You're gorgeous. Glasses are ugly. Wow.
Yeah. So
Maybe that just comes from
anyway,
someone who wears glasses.
I always think people look better in glasses, but that's just me. Cover your face. These retinas need a break. But, that's the history of My Big Fat Greek Life, the show. It ran for 7 episodes and actually started off with pretty high ratings. Had like some million people watch the premiere. And then just as the show went on, the ratings tanked and it just got canceled after the 7th episode.
There is no review on Rotten Tomatoes aside from a critic consensus at a 0% of the honeymoon swiftly sours in My Big Fat Greek Life, which swaps the earthy charm of its big screen predecessor for a derivative adherence to sitcom cliches. That sounds about right.
That was a very articulate sitcom description for was probably the cringiest show you'd ever watch.
Ooh.
So,
man, am I actually going to side with Rotten Tomatoes critics? Okay. All right.
Hit me with some scores.
I want you to guess. What do you think for My Big Fat Greek Wedding, the first one?
The critic score?
Give me critic score, audience score. What do you think they are?
Tell me
And
high or low.
actually, do you want to do Price is Right where you guess without going over?
Sure.
Okay.
So critic
this is the
score,
first movie.
Can I say 55?
55 for critic score. Okay.
Audience score 85.
Okay. So, for critic score on My Big Fat Greek Wedding, 76. Certified fresh.
Okay.
And then the audience score is a 73%.
Oh, lower than I expected.
So the critics and the audience were actually
They're
pretty
like, yeah, it's pretty
in tune
good.
on this one. All right.
Okay.
My Big Fat Greek
Interesting.
Wedding 2. Is this one? You said the first one is your favorite, right?
First one's my favorite.
Okay.
I'm going to assume the critics didn't like the second one as much.
Okay.
So I'm going to say 45 for critics and like a 60 for audience.
Okay. So for critics on My Big Fat Greek Wedding 2, 27%.
Wow.
And audiences were
27.
52%.
Wow.
What do the critics have to say about
feels
this one?
harsh. 27 feels really harsh.
My Big Fat Greek Wedding 2 is as sweet and harmless as the original, but its collection of sitcom gags and stereotypes never coalesces into anything resembling a story with purpose. I would beg to disagree.
I disagree. I feel like it's not that deep, bro. That's kind of where
really
I'm at
not.
on that. What about
Have you already seen the scores for the third one?
No.
Okay, good. All right, go for it. Take a guess. Take a gander. Based on what we've said.
For audience score,
Yes.
or not audience score, for critics score on My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3, let's say 25. And
Critic
then
score?
yeah.
Okay.
And then for audience, I feel like enough old ladies went and saw this, like that this would go well. I'm gonna say 60.
Okay. So on My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3, critic score is 30%. So you were pretty close.
Okay, I can respect that.
And then audience score is 72%, which
That
continues
feels
the
high.
trend this year of the critics and the audience
Completely
score being
disagreeing.
very different. And I think that's an interesting trend to follow across Rotten Tomatoes history, where as time went on, the critic's voice and the audience voice has gotten very different.
Yeah.
And they're very like on polar ends of the spectrum now. It's very odd and very hard to find a modern day movie where critics and the audience are actually kind of in agreement. So, because like there's 3% off on the first movie. There's, I don't know, a solid like 20-ish percent, 25% off on the second one between. But even then, that's really close. And then here, there's like a 42 gap between critics and audience, which is so weird.
70.
I'd also like to
feels
say
pretty high. I don't know about that.
the poster for Big Fat Greek Wedding 3 is the worst of them
It's
because they got
trash.
rid of the whole like holding the family back.
Yeah. Yeah. What about consistency, guys? Like
yeah,
that.
guys.
I don't know. Overall,
Come
just
on.
kind of wrapping up. The first one's my favorite. The second one is fun. The third one is okay. Overall, I would recommend these movies if you hadn't seen them or if you have a friend that likes them. And I'm glad I watched them. And I think it was good to cover these because we want to cover a variety of movies. And I think it's kind of funny to be like, oh, it's like a chick flick type movie. And I don't think we've really ever talked about a movie like this on the podcast. So I think this was a good move. And I'm very happy to be here. Anything else to add before we wrap up?
Wait.
You're Googling very intensely.
Hold on. What is this?
What's happening?
So I found this thing. It's on Rotten Tomatoes. It's called My Big Fat Greek Olympic Dream.
Stop.
Premiere date August 1st, 2004. What is
My
this?
Big Fat Greek Olympic Dream?
I don't think this is related.
Olympic Dream.
Okay, wait. So I found
A TV
a synopsis from BBC.
program. Okay.
As a teenager, Nemone Metaxas had two dreams: to become a radio DJ and to run the 400 meter at the Olympic Games. A decade on, she's achieved her first goal, hosting her own Radio 1 show 5 days a week. Can she prove she's fast enough and Greek enough to make it to Athens? This film follows Nemone over a year to find out.
Dude, where can I watch this?
What?
Where
It doesn't
can I
have
watch
any
this?
info at all.
Where can I watch this? Dude, this is so shady. What even is this? Wow.
If anybody
I
has
love-
any info, feel
if
free to
anyone
reach
has
out
any
to
info,
us.
Yeah. shoot a
Twitter.com
DM.
/nerdiestpod, Instagram.com/the nerdiest podcast. Speaking of which,
Wow.
what a great segue.
What a banger
Unless
episode.
you have anything else to say.
I don't. I'm good to go.
Well, if you want to stay up to date with the podcast, you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter, as I just mentioned, and you can do all of that with the links in the description in case you missed what I said. If you like what we do here and you want to support the show, you can check out our merch or join our Patreon to get some exclusive benefits, including a monthly bonus episode and behind-the-scenes content. If you're on our Patreon, one, you now have access to the Nerdiest After Show episode 1. The second episode will be going up next week. So you might want to jump on so you can have access to 2 bonus episodes.
Whoa, that's crazy.
2 episodes. And I also put a little sneak peek up there of some of our October episodes.
Ooh.
Aside from Ahsoka. So if you want to know what's coming next month, definitely going to want to jump on the Patreon.
How exciting.
Speaking of which, I want to thank Bearded Mana for being a part of Nerdiest Max. Thank you for supporting
Thank
the
you,
show
sir.
and
Thank you,
everything
sir.
we do
appreciate
here.
it.
But if you're tight on cash, as we all tend to be, the best way to support us is by leaving a 5-star review and sharing the show with a fellow nerd or someone who, maybe your grandma or your mom or your aunt, someone who loves My Big Fat Greek Wedding, and you want to show them that, even the cool kids are talking about their favorite not soap opera movie. So
You know what's up?
with that being said, we will see you guys next episode to talk about more nerdy shenanigans in the future. I'll talk to you guys next time. Peace out.
Bye.